Hi folks, today we're going to go over parallel and perpendicular lines. So let me just make sure this, oh, there we go. All right, so what do parallel lines have in common? If you think about lines that are parallel, that's not a good line, but if it were a line and I drew a line next to it like that, those two lines have the same slope. Okay, slope is the difference in the rise versus the run, and then if they're parallel, those would be the exact same. What do you know about slopes of perpendicular lines? So for parallel lines, M1 would equal M2. M is the slope. The slope of line 1 would equal the slope of line 2. Perpendicular lines. So a perpendicular line means that the two lines meet at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so this would be a 90-degree angle. So their slopes are negative reciprocals of one another. So in other words, so for example, if M1 equaled 1/2, then its perpendicular slope, so the perpendicular line 2 would have a slope of -2. In other words, you take the reciprocal and then the opposite sign. Let me just write another example. If we had M1 equaling 3, then the perpendicular of M1 would be the perpendicular slope of line 2. The reciprocal of 3 would be 1/3, and then the negative of that, or the opposite of that, would be its perpendicular slope. So you're going to be given an equation and then asked to find a new equation that's either parallel or perpendicular through a given point. Okay, so I have this equation right here, 2x minus 3y equals 9. And I'm asked to find an equation of a line that passes through the point 6, 7, and then is parallel to that line. Well, this 2x minus 3y equals 9 is not in slope-intercept form. So in order to see the slope, I need to solve for y. So the first thing I'm going to do is solve for y by subtracting 2x. And dividing by -3. So you can see then that my slope is 2/3. So now it says find the equation of the line. We want to find the equation in slope-intercept form. And so one method, so I have the slope 2/3 and I have the point 6, 7. In Delta Math, they're going to show you that the method for solving is to write out y equals 2/3 x plus b, and then put the 6 in for the x and the 7 in for the y and solve for b. So I would have 7 equals 2/3 times 6 plus b. So that's going to give me 4 plus b. So I subtract 4 and I get b is 3. So my final answer is going to be y equals 2/3 x plus 3. Okay, that is one method, and that's the method you'll see in Delta Math. The second method would be actually easier, and it's based off of the point slope form of an equation, which is y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. Oops. So I would take the slope, which is 2/3, and I put it right here for m. I keep the variable y, but then I subtract off. So my point was 6, 7, so I subtract off 7. So y minus 7 equals 2/3, and then x minus 6. Okay, that's also an equation of a line. It's not in slope-intercept form, but all you would have to do to get it into slope-intercept form would be to distribute the 2/3 and then add 7. And by doing that, then you would have y equals 2/3 x plus 3, like we got the first time. Okay, so your answer in delta math is going to need to be in slope-intercept form, but you can use either method. Okay, let's do another example. I have an equation. I'm asked to find the line parallel through the point -2, -2. So I'm first going to solve this equation. So I'm going to subtract 5x. So I have -y equals -5x plus 4. Divide by -1. So I'd have y equals 5x minus 4. My slope is 5. So then I'm going to use the 5 and the -2, -2. Okay, so if you're using point slope form, this is really easy. All I'm going to do is put in the y value, which is -2, so minus -2, so it'd be plus 2. Put in the slope, which is 5, and then x minus -2, so that's also plus 2. Then you distribute the 5, and then you're going to subtract 2. So I'd have y equals 5x plus 8. And just remember, in delta math, they would show you the method of putting in y equals 5x plus b, and then plugging in the -2, -2 to solve for b. So this would give me -10, so I'd be adding 10 here. And again, I would get b is 8. Y equals 5x plus 8 is my solution. Okay, I know that in calc, point slope form is going to be the one that you're going to want to use, but either one works, slope intercept or point slope. But your answer in delta math has to be in slope intercept form. Okay, the second type of equation is finding the perpendicular. You're going to start the same way. You're going to solve for y in this equation right here to get the slope. So I would subtract 6x. That would give me 5y equals -6x plus 30. And then divide by 5. So now you can see my slope is -6/5, but I want the perpendicular slope. So that's going to be the opposite reciprocal. So I take the reciprocal and the opposite sign. So that's going to be 5, 6. Then I use the point, -6, -7. So if I write out in point slope form, I would do y minus -7 equals 5, 6, x minus -6. I distribute, and when I distribute, the 6's cancel, so I get 5. And then I'm going to have to subtract 7. So my answer is going to be y equals 5, 6x minus 2. Okay, and that's using point slope form to solve. You can also use slope intercept, and if you were to do that, you would write out y equals 5, 6x plus b, and then you would plug in the point into the x value and the y value, and then solve for b. You get the same answer. Okay, let me just do one more. I'm going to subtract x. I'm going to divide by -6. I get a slope of 1/6, so my perpendicular slope is going to be -6. I'm going to take the point -1, 4, and let me use the other method. Y equals -6x plus b. I'm going to put 4 in for y, then -1 in for x, and solve for b. This gives me +6, so I'm going to subtract 6. So my b value is going to be -2. So my final answer is going to be y equals -6x minus 2. Okay, so I want you to go to delta math. You're going to do the 914 parallel and perpendicular lines assignment. Here's the puzzle. Can you see the keep is in the touch? So it's keep in touch. Hard to do these days. You got to reach out to people to keep in touch. So hope you're all doing okay. Reach out if you have questions.